morning, everyone. Welcome back to our morning session. Welcome, team. Patrick, Maciej. Today is going to be another interesting one. We're going to talk about a little bit of earnings, what's happening before market, what's going to happen after market, and then we're going to look at the metals. So, welcome, Patrick.
Hey, welcome everybody. How's going on your end?
Good morning.
Good morning. We're going to talk about gold as well. So, welcome, guys. So to start with, what you can see here is we have the Uber chart on the left, and we have some really interesting companies reporting today. So Uber negative, you see a drop in price in our pre-market kind of like session. We have Lilly, AbbVie, Qualcomm, and then of course we're gonna have Google later on. Very, very interesting because the AI narrative. So we've seen what's happening in OpenAI and Microsoft. We want to see what Google is going to say. So aftermarket will be very, very interesting. So stay focused on that. Before we go into the other chart, we can look at the data coming from Uber. So this is the data as of last night. So as you can see, the option data from Uber and the momentum was very, very negative, very, very red. So we had a very, very negative option score, momentum score. And as you can see, the whole matrix was kind of red. So I think the market was prepared for potentially kind of like bad earnings. If you look at the swing model on Uber, we are in a upper band situation. So that means that we are in a negative bias. This is the data from yesterday. Our upper band is 82, 71, and our risk trigger is 73.15. So if we go now to the chart, we are already breaking through kind of like all the down level, but we are stalling now at the 73 level. So this could be an interesting area for today, right? So this is how you can kind of play around with it. Come to the dashboard and just take a look at first what is the Q score telling us, and how can we prepare for potential outcome. We can also see basically what happens when we move from a bullish kind of area to a bearish. So the Q score went from bullish to a score of 4 to bearish. We started seeing kind of like the downtrend, and now we're here at the bottom right there, right? So let me know, guys, if you have questions on how to use any of these models. The other second topic that we want to start looking is we get a lot of question about, okay, so if I trade gold or silver, should I use the future? Should I use the ETF? So we want to show you some interesting things. So first, we're seeing some divergence from the ETF and the future. So if we open GLD here and we start looking at the option metrics right there, we can see that we are kind of overall green around the full option chain, right? So we have a lot of positive gamma. We have, of course, our February OPEX expiration. So we have a lot of gamma expiring right here, about 25%. But the overall situation on the matrix is kind of green. If we go now onto the future side and we open GC, and we can use so first let's go actually on the active future section, and let's look at commodities, and let's look at gold, and we can see that GCJ is the future with the highest open interest and volume. So we're going to open that one, and then what we're going to look for is what's happening kind of like in the matrix right there. So we start seeing a kind of slightly different picture. So over the next 3 to 4 expirations, we start seeing some negative gamma piling up compared to what we were seeing on GLD, right? So this divergence could be interesting, especially for futures traders of gold. Just remember that the gold levels are calculated looking at the futures option chain. the ETF level are looking at the stock or ETF option chain. So with MenthorQ, you can access both. So understanding this divergence is very, very important. And let me know, guys, as traders, how do you read this? How do you look at that?
For me, it's interesting what they do when we have that kind of divergences. How you read it as an option trader with this option matrix, Fabio? These divergences between gold, jet contract, and exactly GLD right now, what we have after seeing end of the day snapshot.
Yeah. So as an option trader, you can open up, for example, our gamma profile for the next expiration and the following one. So these are the next two expirations. So you can see that there is a big battle between positive and negative gamma at different strikes. So that tells me there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. So you have a lot of different bets in opposite directions at different strike prices. So, for example, we have a very close put support and core resistance in a matter of 15 points. So, which is a very, very interesting kind of thing. So, from what I can tell, there's a lot of different ideas currently on gold from different players. So, as always, like the option data can help you understand the sentiment of the market. So, over the next kind of three expiration, I think this is what I see here, compared to, for example, if you go into GLD, where the situation is a little bit different. Well, actually, it's quite similar. So in this case, we actually seen for the next expiration, we have our put support at a higher level than our core resistance. It's possible that happens, but then things tends to stabilize over the next kind of expiration here. Why is that important? Because you always have to think who is trading what, right? So when we look at GLD, it's probably an asset that is sitting on longer term portfolios. For example, people that do asset allocation, they would buy GLD and keep it into their portfolio for diversification. So their need of acting on those positions might be lower than people actually trading gold futures, right? So those would be more speculators, retail traders, but also institutions that are hedging using futures. So this divergence can really help you understand what's going on in the market. And we can do the same exercise on silver. So if we look at silver, for example, we are seeing on SLV, in this case, some negative gamma over the next week, over next 3 days, right here. But overall, the overall option chain is in a positive gamma environment towards the end of the chain. Let's go into the futures, and again we go on to our active futures, we go on to commodities, and then we are going to look for silver. So we take the contract with the highest open interest and volume, and then we can go and look at the chain. So we have a big pile again here of negative gamma over the next 3 days as well. So it's very interesting to see the different chains, and then you can go and plot those levels directly onto the chart on TradingView or any other of the integrations. Let me know if that makes sense, guys.
He was having also something on Monday, really interesting, but it was more like the battle between ES and NQ. And I think it was on Monday. I don't remember so much anymore, but someone from them, ES or NQ, was having a really big put call ratio, and the other one was really neutral. So there was also some little signs. So if you put together ES and NQ, there was also a big divergence.
Yeah.
And this was on Monday, by the way.
And also, like, I think what's also important, I think we talked about this in the past, looking at the divergence of SPY and SPX sometimes is very helpful. So whenever we see, for example, that SPX is in a positive gamma regime while SPY is in a negative gamma regime, right? So that can tell you what the longer term investors are doing and can help you plan your day accordingly.
And Fabio, when we be on the dashboard, can you open, for example, NVIDIA or Tesla?
Yep.
I think we must see today the first expiration. Today is Wednesday. If you go into the multi-expiration, are we already showing the new stuff, what we're doing?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So we have it here. So we have, as you were mentioning, Patrick, so Max 7 plus a few other company like AVGO, IBIT now have kind of like daily options, right? I believe they are kind of like not every day, but 3 times a week. And so you can already see them right here. So we have today, we have Friday, and then of course if you come to the matrix, you'll be able to see the different expiration as well.
Yeah, we have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Not on Monday or Wednesday if there's some earnings.
Yeah.
In this case, I think today could be a little bit hurricane. So because it's the first expiration from
Yep.
the Magnificent Seven, we have VIX expiration today. It could be really interesting today. Today, I'll be more looking into really the Magnificent Seven, how much volatility they bring in, because that we have a new experience. What could this be meaning now? So guys, yeah, I think volatility could be today a really good one, especially because of the new stuff. As options trader, what would be this meaning for you, Fabio, if you can trade ZUDTs now?
Yeah. So that means that, so there's a couple of things. That means that there's going to be more volume coming in. So there's going to be more interest from speculators, retail traders, but not only for these options. So now you can actually trade these companies three days a week instead of one. So that means more volume and potentially more volatility because of the hedging pressure that comes with all those expirations. So obviously, I think we've seen it with SPX. So the volume of zero DT's option on XPX grew very fast, and that's also affecting the way you trade futures, ES contracts, and all of that. So yeah, definitely with this new expiration is going to be much more volume, potentially more volatility coming in for those names. And of course, those Max 7 account for maybe 30-40% of the index. So that's going to affect, NQ, that's going to affect ES, and so on.
Amazing. So let's go.
Let me know, Maciej, if you want me to switch it to you.
Yep, good morning everyone. Let's jump exactly and let's take look what is going on our CTA models. So first thing first, where we have our commodities, gold, start building long position, silver also, palladium, copper similar, only aluminum right now is not showing the same case. So most of metals starting to building long positions. So let's check also on our picture how it looks. Do we have the same confirmation? Exactly, yep. And from where are we starting? From neutral zone. We are not such a far from the bottoms of CTAs, but also staying in neutral zone. Few times here, as we can see, is the zone when we have again new impulses creating very often. So right now we know what is going on and how acting on gold. Let's check also silver, similar situation we can say. We are near to neutral ground, plus minus 0.02 as we can see on our CTA model charts with price. So right now, let's jump exactly after knowing what is going on with CTAs to our jet contract. So after big dropping right now and crossing the second trend line, we have the new impulses. Awesome. So before we map our road for today, where we are, 50 plus minus. So we are right here above medium strike, 5100, 5100, later 52 bigger one. Supporting zone, plan B, 5K. Later, as we can see, we have open space, open gaps, 4900 main strike, and after dropping this, we should get very big acceleration. And on the plan C, what is going on from this perspective, 37 plus minus zone will be very interesting target. Also, where we are jumping to now our nearest expiration, let's take a look how it's exactly things going on. Negative gamma regime expiring today, minus 2.4%. A more negative strike, exactly around 50-50. Here is a battle between positive and negative strikes. Later, from the right side, we have positive support, but crossing 5K, boom, we're jumping exactly to the place where we have negative exactly strikes, negative big gamma regime, what it means for us, extended moves, and not only. Tomorrow, when we're checking right now, what is going on with expiration also means negative, so extended moves and extended conditions. And what we have, 5K as a negative point, later button on the right side from positive gamma regime, crossing 48.50 plus minus, then 48 and below. This should be staying on our mind when we are looking for gamma expiration chain for jet contract right now. Also, what we have, boom, let's map it together one more time, clearing everything, what can help us to having clear view. So the first trend line is crossed, so let's add second one. Also right now is crossed, so the impulse is perhaps a little bit not such a big as a beginning. Also, cup and handle perspective from classic price action perspective could be in the game. If yes, what we have above, blind spot, lower band and wrist triggers, also blind spot and wrist triggers. So exactly 55, 54, 53. So each time 100 points of open gap, open space we have to the upside as a plan A when we are looking to jet contract, as a plan B, of course, call resistance with HVL and lower band around 5K to 49.70, so 30 points box. Let's map it together as a first supporting zone. Boom. If this not hold from my view, lower band, HVL and GEX level sitting around 49. Right now, where we are, put support, core resistance, 1-day max, a lot of gags and blind spot. So supporting zone, as we can see right now, is working very well. And also our plan A, when we converting GLD, where we have 5-day swing model and also blind spot sitting. So this is how it looks on GCJet. From me also, we should be prepared maybe for some correction. After that kind of extended move, I will be not surprised to see some acceleration to the downside. We have mapped our zone, so be careful, ladies and gents. Silver, let's take a look how it looks, where we are and what we have on our GEX all expiration chart. Main strike positive, sitting around 75. So we have a lot of distance to the downside. Above, tiny profile, especially what is interesting, this negative pile sitting around 83. We are still above. Right now we are sitting on our roof from the chain around 90. So it helps us. Above, if we convert SLV, we have 1-day max sitting around 93.6 and also around 92 call resistance gamma wall from SLV sitting above. So when we are checking also our charts, multi-expiration, so today tiny expiring, 0.6% positive. Tomorrow is negative version, so it could be tricky period right now after also that kind of impulse what we get from the bottom from last days. So what we have right now on our charts as an interesting point, 87 as a main target from the downside perspective, also negative regime sitting still below 91, positive support sitting around 85, so here it will be very clever and interesting battle. Tomorrow when we are looking 83, so ladies, gents, connect the dots. I hope you will be prepared. Also, as you can see, 24th of February, 83% of gamma expiring. So when we are looking to the bigger picture near end of the month, main strike sitting around 75. Also, 6th of February, negative gamma regime around 80. So we have 4, 5, and 6. Exactly day per day, we can map how it changed. So we will come back later and checking what is going on. So right now, GLD, we are near lower bands and risk triggers from 5-day swing model. Right now, as a support is working very well, above core resistance with risk trigger, creating magnetic zone around 475, 478 as a block, above blind spot, and also another cluster from risk triggers above last highs. And today, what we have in our calendar, perhaps PMI will be showing, ADP data shows less, so it will be also interesting moment on our charts. What is going on later, because that kind of data have also pressure to the metals and not only. SLV, right now, what is interesting, we are coming back to the risk trigger and lower band area. Below, lower band sitting here. Is it possible to have main grind today right here? I hope so. And what is helping us to have a clear picture what is going on SLV? 1-day max, call resistance, risk trigger right now as a box area. Below, plan B, put support, HVL, 1-day min. What can help us to have clear vision? Simple drawing line, and then it should help us to have very good ideas. Above, of course, with plan A, what we have, risk triggers, 84, 89, below, similar view, plan B, 67, 64 as a support. Right now, we are on the middle of nowhere, so from my view is gambling mode, waiting for economic data and news snapshot after the bell, which we have on our dashboard. So GVZ, the last thing, showing price around 41. What it means, 2.5% predicted move for today as a normal standard deviation, but it doesn't mean it should stop. Also, Dr. Dollar, and here is something interesting, showing divergences, because usually, as you know, if dollar is growing, it pushes metals to the downside. And right now, dollar is growing and metal is growing. Somebody is a cheater, perhaps. So be careful, ladies and gents. And it's time, Patrick, I'm guessing, to switch on you after the data, what you have on the indexes, what kind of action we have also on SPY and QQQ.
Yeah. Let us first looking into the questions what we have.
Yeah, sure.
Gold, so then we can go into this. Put support is higher than call resistance. Should it be considered short-term bearish sign? I think, Fabio, you was already answered this, but what is this meaning, Fabio?
Yeah, so I think it's important that we understand that the word support and resistance is not to be looked at as you would in technical analysis. So whenever you have technical analysis, you know that support is below the price and resistance is above the price. When we look at option positioning, you need to understand how, and if we go back, let's go back to our futures. you need to understand how what the market is doing and how basically the institutional player or the option player are playing those expirations. So it is possible, like in this case, that our well, it was here, it was silver, that our put support is above the price, because this tells us basically where the institutions or the traders or the investors are betting more for kind of like a downside move. So in this case, for 0DTEs, today's expiration, the put support is now at 5,035. Our core resistance is slightly higher at 5,050, but it is possible that you see that kind of situation, especially in shorter term expiration. So this normally happens on our 0DTEs expiration, but if you go and see the overall kind of like all expirations, you would see a different picture where you have our put support below and our core resistance above. So, but when you look at 0DTEs, then that could possibly happen, yes.
All right, good one. So let's jump into the indices. And again, welcome everybody. Happy Wednesday. We are now in the middle of the week, so I think today could be a really interesting day. So we have fixed expiration, guys. We have also the Magnificent Seven, who expired the first time on Wednesday. A lot is going on in the market. So yesterday was a really great day. I was really happy that the Meta short was playing out. We were talking about this later, but now let's jump in first, as usual, into the overview. What we can basically seeing. And one thing what I was also mentioned in the pro room this morning for our London session, when we was a little bit more active as a trader, we was really seeing on NQ some nice phenomenon, and I call it the gamma concentration. Why? Because if you're looking into this little tiny area between 25,500 to 25,700, so the 200 points, it's not big for Nasdaq. But we have here put support 0DTE, high wall 0DTE, call resistance 0DTE, and again at the top, 1-day max. And the colors, what you're seeing here, it's the blind spots trading roadmap. So we have one rule that blind spots supporting gamma levels. If we see something like this, this is a huge area, huge magnet. And this is again showing me, hey, attention here at the top. We was seeing this already in the morning in the London time. We was touching this the first time. We're getting reaction. We come back again to this area. We're getting reaction. So guys, really careful with this because it's a little bit tricky. And I was also talking to this in the pro room. I'm writing this down for the guys, but I will explain this here also a little bit because we're seeing here the gamma concentration. And normally we would say from GEX1 to high vol 0DT on ES, we have open space. This is how we calling A plus setups. But we are smart enough and we have side-by-side ES and NQ, and we're seeing, this could be not working really well because on NQ, we have a wall here. And here I'm thinking it's more a trap area. This is not what I would be really looking like for, because it looks like for me this is a trap. And especially if we going into this and we going into here, we're going into here. As you can see here, we was rejected here many times. So maybe we need good momentum. Maybe we need news drivers. Maybe we need the volatility, what we can possibly expect today doing the 0DTE auctions and the VIX expiring, that we going through this touching 1-day max. Yeah, then the high vol and high vol 0DTE will be in play. But at the moment, I think this could be a trap area if we want trying to go long. I would be staying out here. This is my personal opinion. And also, if we're looking into the Dow, the JM, I'm converting ES because we're on the futures from ES to Dow. On Dow, we have no futures gamma levels. Why we have no futures gamma levels for Dow, by the way, Fabio?
Yeah, so I believe it's because there's no options on the future contract. I believe it's because of the strike. So the Dow quotes at a very, very big strike. So I think the options would be very expensive. That's my personal opinion. But there's no option activity on YM. So what you have on YM is our blind spots or the converted level from either SPX or ES or DIA, which is the Dow Jones ETF.
I personally like really SPX or ES because this matched really well together. I'm not using the Diamond ETF, to be really honest, because I was observing on the future side that ES and SPX works much better for conversion. But you have all the tools here on MenthorQ, and this is really the beauty one. So basically, you can develop your own dashboard. You can have everything on your end, how this will be working on your end. So with this speaking, if you be a Dow trader, take care of the high vol 0 DTE level here. Why? Because take a closer look where we was rejected last time, and now we coming again into this area. Also, we was shopping around here. With this in my mind, I'll be also a little bit more carefully with the long here on NQ. And last but not least, on the Russell, we have the same picture here. We have our blind spots. This is the colorful roadmap, and we are in an area where a lot of blind spots activities happened, and we're touching now the call resistance on the Russell. So I expect also a little bit more shoppiness between call resistance and high vol 0 DTE. If we can break out to 1 day max after this, I don't know. Be careful here. You have also the blind spots wall. But personally, I like, again, the downside a little bit more. But I be a day trader, I be a scalper. I have always a plan A for the long side, a plan B for the short side, and plan C for staying out of the market. Like me, my friend Ombre and Maciej, we have always plan A, B, and C. So this is why we are not biased in any direction. Don't get us wrong. And also, if we're looking into the swing trading levels, like here I have the diamond because this makes sense to convert this on the Dow. The Dow is coming more and more to some top of the levels, the swing trading levels, where we was rejected. Take a closer look here. This is absolutely really nice area. This is also really, if we breaking through this, focus on this. This makes really sense. And at the moment, if you're looking into the ES, NQ, Russell and ES in the middle of nowhere, based on the levels, only NQ is more looking like to the south side, and it could be attacking again and lower band on 25 135, and makes the sense. Take a closer look to the left side. Absolutely, it makes totally sense. So the NQ is really interesting based on the swing trading levels, and also the Dow. The Dow for the top, NQ for the downside, ES and Russell, we are staying in the middle. So this is something what I'm looking for in the big overview. But let's jump into our option change from ES, SPX, SPY, and of course we're talking about the VIX. And last but not least, we're looking into the option chain from NQ, NDX, QQQ, and SQQ. Everything is based on his own option chain for futures, indices, ETFs. So let's jump in first with our ES. Yellow one, as you know, it's from the previous day. White is also from today, end of the day levels. And for me, when you be long on our side, what is the first thing what I'm looking for is like high vol. Is there a change in the high vol or high vol 0 DTE? The high vol level is going a little bit more higher. So the gamma flip is switching higher. So we are staying at the moment in negative condition based on the concept where we're flipping from positive gamma to negative gamma. And then if the 1 day min, let's take a closer look also to the 1 day min, we also flipping lower. The only thing is the put support. The put support 0 DTE It's now getting higher. And with this in mind, the 6,900 is really interesting for us. If we go and choose the 6,900, 20 points, this is also where we have here our candle wick. So this area here for the downside makes me a little bit more curious if we can touch this. If we go and choose this, the gamma flip, where we're flipping from positive to negative gamma, could be absolutely in the play. But again, a little bit more higher, we have our one-day max. And not only here, we was in the last time hanging around before we fall down. So take a closer look today on the ES, on the one-day max, put support 0 DTE, and one-day min. This is my major area where I'm looking for. For the NQ, as we was already talking before, I have here my huge wall. The wall gives me a lot of respect. So that's why I was saying everything about this here. The only thing what I'm liking here on the NQ is, of course, the put support, because this is staying so long here on 25,000. I think I'm seeing this now like few days all the time. Put support 25,000. But maybe with some reason. So the 25,000 will be taking my attention today. And not only because we was also taking a closer look into the lower band. It's on 25, 135, and then we come down in the knee area where the put support is sitting on NQ. So that's why this area here is also really interesting. And if we zoom out, it makes totally sense if we're coming here. So this is only some little tiny technical correction, because if you're looking into the 4-hour time frame, what we are seeing on the NQ, by the way, take a closer look here, we are staying in the range. It is a bigger range. Yeah, we was breaking out, but at the end, we're coming now back in the range. So we have a bottom and we have a top. So this is why I think personally, we could be staying here in the range. Let's see how this will working out. For the downside, as I said, the put support and the lower band on NQ makes me a lot of thinking. What we see also, let's jump in our VIX, because today, again, you know, I like the VIX because the VIX is my major one where I'm using for my timing and entering my trades. And not only, one thing what I was catching directly in the morning was a box. So what I mean with a box, so we have the A plus set up, put support 0 DTE from the blind spot level VIXy on the VIX, and we have our call resistance 0 DTE, also an A plus setup based on my playbook on the VIX. So this means for me, the box here is have a huge relevance, especially now with the VIX expiration. So I'm looking more for that we coming out of the VIX, targeting again the one-day min and the one-day max and high walls, that we coming into the 1950 and 20 area. So what would be this meaning for us? We will see again a drop in the market. So therefore, I want to see that we're getting out of the box. If we holding this and we getting here the downside move back to one-day min, where we have also the VIXy sitting from the one-day min, then we are in the range again on the 1650. So then we can see possible that we're breaking through the NQ wall. But for me now, the box here is really important for the move on the NQ and ES, what we can do. So this is something what I monitor at the moment. And then let's jump into the Magnificent 7. One thing, guys, what I want showing you is, and I was not changing this. Let's jump in here. Maybe you was on the Monday afternoon session with us. We was talking about Meta. I was really bearish on Meta. Why? People was asking me, Patrick, why you are so bearish on Meta? I say, hey man, take a closer look at the news candle. What has really happened after the earnings? Man, we drive down and it's a nice gap fill. And I was also talking about the risk trigger and the lower band, about the range here. And then we were seeing on Monday the lower band -1 here. And take a closer look what was happened on the next day. So basically yesterday, because yesterday we was not live, so that's why I'm talking about now here. So we came to the lower band and we was seeing lower band -2. So this was basically 2 days before, and this was the lower band, the actually lower band. So it was working perfectly out because we were seeing that the lower band goes, in this case, lower, and we having a new target. This was something what we was really discussed doing the price action breakdown on Monday. If you have interest in this, how I was analyzing this, so take a closer look into the Monday aftermarket breakdown. So with this saying, what's really interesting again, Apple is again fantastic. I don't know. I'm not so much an Apple trader, but we was seeing long time the put support and put support UDT wall. This was here and here, and now what we have on Apple, we're getting now a call resistance wall. Call resistance, call resistance, call resistance. That's also really interesting. So we have a decision area also on Apple. Can Apple come down to 1 day min, or can we targeting possible our 1 day max? So I like to have on the Magnificent 7, especially on days like today, find out decision areas if there's really something interesting, and then taking out also our levels and using the string trading models. Let's use this also for Apple, because on Meta, as you know, it was working really well, and figure out what are the swing trading levels telling us in this case. So what we have here, we have our risk triggers, and based on this, let's map out a trading roadmap. Here we go. So in this case, I will not take attention to this one, but we have a clear direction. We have a clear direction to the top. If we get the momentum, we can target easily this. If we break this, remember, I was sitting what? Yeah, you're right, the call resistance. If we break the call resistance, then take a closer look to the lower band here. Why? Because this was the old wall also where the put support is hanging, and this would be also meaning here again was our earning candle, so that we basically take out again our earnings candle. So that's something what I'm looking also on Apple. So decision area at the moment, as we was talking about, what momentum we will get, upside or downside, I have no idea. Let's the market figure it out. But again, we have what Maciej and as Ombre will be saying, we have plan A, we have a plan B, and we know exactly this is plan C, where we don't want to be in the market. So that's why A, B, C, so it's actually in the plan. And then not only where we have also decision area now, let's take a closer look into this together. The only thing what I'm seeing at the moment on my end is what is also really interesting is Amazon. The other one, I don't know. I don't take so much attention on this at the moment. Why is Amazon so interesting? Here we go. We have call resistance again here, and we have put support move together here. So that's, by the way, our candle from Tuesday. So now let's figure out if we can bring this back, and if high vol ZUDTE, by the way, where we're flipping from positive to negative gamma, will be holding us, or we get rejected and we stay again in negative regime. Why? Because if you're looking into the high vol area, take a closer look what was happened here. Rejected, rejected, rejected. So if we get also the up move on the market, as we were saying, high vol ZUDTE, let's see the really decision here. And then, boom, will we reject it, or coming down, coming back to call resistance, where we was before, also again rejected and rejected. and back to our high vol 0 DTE. So the GEX1 is our area where the game will be starting, because why? We have to see here also, let's always take a closer look to the left. Rejected, rejected, again, rejected, and rejected. Here we go, rejected. So I want to find out on Amazon, because this is actually also really nice and interesting setup, what I really like. Can we go over GEX1? Will we breaking and retest GEX1 again and targeting high vol UDT? Will we reject it again and testing GEX1 again? So then we can have the move like to high vol UDT, down move again to GEX1, or will we reject it to GEX1, coming to a high vol that we have to move also here? So basically you have your moves today are all about high vol and high vol 0 DTE. So you can play with the range, and this is something really cool, what we really like as day traders. We have tops, we have bottoms where we can play. Also here, this is why I'm really liking Amazon. If Amazon will be going to one of the levels, I know exactly we have our put support here and we have our call resistance here, and I know exactly what was happened the last time. Then we have to look into our level 2 data, our options order flow, to see if the momentum will be hold or if we won't be breaking. That's from my side for today, guys. Man, I'm talking so much, I know. Sorry, guys. Let's jump into the questions and bring back the monitor to Fabio.
All right. Thank you, Patrick. That was awesome. Let's see if we have some questions here. There's a question on ES or SPX for YM. I think we went over that. Yes, I mean, you have the full flexibility, Roosevelt. Patrick likes ES and SPX. That's an option. You also have the DIA ETF as a second option, but yeah, just you can use any asset you want through the indicator.
Yeah.
So
yeah, guys, take a closer look into all the library. Maybe Fabio, you can jump into the library what we have there. If you sign up, what you get also, because you have Trader Flix, we have so many courses for you guys where you can go in truth, and I think every course have some value there. So let's take a closer look there what we have.
Yeah, so if you guys create a free account with us, you can get access to our academy. So first, our onboarding. So if you want to learn how to use MenthorQ, you can start from here. This will give you a breakdown of your setup, our products. So how can you use the gamma levels? This is a video focus on gamma levels, Q score, all of that. And then depending on what type of trader you are, there's a video based on that. So if you are a futures trader, you can come and see, okay, how can I use MenthorQ for futures trading? If you are a stock trader or an option trader, you have obviously separate tools. It's all covered here. So I would say the onboarding is definitely a great point to start. But then, of course, you have our gamma levels. So we go into details about that. We have our blind spots level, our swing trading levels, and then, of course, you have different courses on how to trade using MenthorQ for futures trader. This is really a nice one that Patrick did, where he shows you exactly how to create your trading roadmap using the levels. We have options, we have stocks, gold, crude oil, forex, crypto. We also have some live trading here that we did. So there's definitely a lot of that. So yeah, just guys, create a free account. You can go over that, access all of these resources. And the second one would be, if you want to learn, just come into Queen. And basically, Queen can help you build a learning plan. So if you type things like, I am So if if you type something like that, then Quinn is gonna provide you with all the documents, links, videos, and tools that you will need to potentially use MenthorQ right here, right? So pretty cool. This is your learning path within our academy. And then, of course, you have the link right here. All right, let's go over some more questions, Patrick. This may be for you. I can also chip in. If I trade regular trading hours, should I convert NDX intraday to NQ?
No. Man, guys, you know my answer. Man, this is some engineer question, guys. So why we are here on MenthorQ? Because we deliver you everything. As you was seeing, maybe you jump in back to my my screen for a second. Let's jump in here. All right, cool. Let me know if you see my screen, Fabio.
Yeah.
All right, so the best answer what I can give you is look at the full option chain, and of course you can basically use intraday levels or end of the day levels. I get the point, but again, I personally like it more static. There's nothing wrong with intraday levels, but if you have a full view from all option chains like ES, like SPX, like SPY, man, this is so much powerful. Why? And here's again a really actionable insight. Now, take a closer look here. On SPY, we're sitting now on put support 0 DT. We don't have this on SPX. We don't have it on ES. So if you want to convert this, then you can do this. But at the end, your chart doesn't look anymore so clean. I can also take out, if you want, the yellow one so that it's be much cleaner, because this is only the yesterday levels. And here we go. So now we have, for example, the ES. So look at this, how clean this is. You know, you have here the GEX walls, like you have a GEX wall here, and you have a GEX wall here. And at the top of the GEX walls, now you can connect the dots. And this is why I'm liking to have everything here, because we have the GEX wall, we have the GEX wall, but at the top of the GEX wall, you have here your put support, 0 DT. So that's why don't get trapped here. You have here your put support 0 DT. Why I'm writing this here? Because the put support 0 DT here based on the top of the GEX came from the SPY. So much traders would be now taking a long here and will be targeting, for example, the high vol 0 DT, but don't do it, because on SPY you have a put support 0 DT. Be careful. And last but not least, if you was talking about NDX, all right, let's do it. So we were talking about now SPX, but first things first, let's also take out the previous day levels, and then take a closer look in the power of if you have everything starting and you're looking into the NQ, NDX, and QQQ side by side. So let's jump in what we see. We're seeing also a GEX wall. It's based on QQQ. And the GEX wall was also showing us, hey guys, we was not coming over this. Boom, be careful here. The GEX wall giving us an answer. Then at the top here on the NDX, we have also a GEX wall based on NDX. And last but not least, we have here our put support 0 DT. So what is this meaning here? So you have your put support 0 DT here, but it also confirms your put support 0 DT from the NDX, because you have a GEX wall here at the top, directly above put support 0 DT. And now in this area where we was shopping around GEX 1, there was the huge GEX wall from QQQ. And at the end, you can connect all the dots together. You map this out again. So you know this area here is shoppiness area. Where are they coming from? They're coming from QQQ. As we see, we have only open space now to put support 0 DTE, to put support 0 DTE, but oh, we have a problem, Houston. We need help. So you don't see at the moment a GEX wall here. And you don't see a GEX wall here. Why? Because it comes now from NQ. So basically, what they're telling us, we was fighting with the wall here at the moment, with the GEX wall here. But this GEX wall, they're going into NQ now and showing up until we are sitting on 1-day min. So basically, this area here is a little bit bullshitting. And this comes back where we was talking about the VIX, and the VIX is also bullshitting a little bit. Sorry for my words, but it is what it is. I cannot do something. So, we are in the box. We're coming now back to the box. We was only getting out a little tiny one out of the box, but here's the box. And if we're coming into the box, we have again the gray area. For us, the really price action begins if we're going out of the box or if we retest the box and coming down and the market goes above. So that's why I like personally to have everything side by side, that you have really the bigger picture from them. I hope this makes sense. But again, you can convert everything with MenthorQ. You have your indicator. I'm using here the custom indicator. You can put in everything. The same as with the end of the day indicator. You have the same functionality. You can convert from ever you want. Let's jump into some, I don't know, give me some name. Let's say you want XLK to, I don't know, China HHKT. So I have not the levels here, but you can basically convert now NDX to China blah blah blah. So you can convert from everything what you can dream about, but really think about, make the sense. If you're talking about converting NDX to NQ, I would be on your side based on the swing trading models. But if you're looking to actionable stuff, then QQQ could be maybe better because of the volume. Think about, we have different traders who are trading QQQ, NDX, and NQ. Fabio was giving you a really good information, and also Maciej was talking about this many, many times. Take a closer look about the dividends. We can have a dividends between NDX, QQQ, and NQ. Why? Different trader, different options. I hope this helps you. Now back to you, Fabio.
Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, I think that was very helpful. Okay, guys, let us know if you have more questions. I think the guys are going to be live trading in the pro room in about 15 minutes. So if you want to join, please go to mentorq.com and check our pricing page for our membership. We're going to be back tomorrow morning, same time, and then back on Friday. And then next week, we're going to resume also the afternoon session. So just follow us on X and YouTube. And basically, you can come under our live sessions here. We're also going to be trading OPEX next Friday. So stay tuned, sign up, set a reminder. So there's going to be some really interesting sessions coming next week.
Man, this is not next Friday.
The 20th, right?
I was thinking, did we have next Friday?
Oh, right, yeah, on the 20th, the third Friday of the month. Sorry for that.
No worries, but if you want live trading, so join us. We have also masterclass today, guys.
Yeah.
We have a really great masterclass topic where we will be going into, because it's so important to understand one rule. We're not talking about the rule here. It's in the masterclass, and we have this today. But stay tuned, guys. We will come back tomorrow with new insights. And as you know, guys, we're doing every single day the same, by the way. We're using our MentorQ gamma levels. We're building our trading plan with plan A, B, C with our MentorQ gamma levels, swing trading levels, blind spots, with our models, with the dashboard. We're using sometimes Quinn. At the end, we have everything here. And this is the cool thing. And we not change something. The only thing what we change is experience day by day by day. Because with every single day, when we stay in the market using the same concepts over and over again, we gain much more knowledge how this will be working, what we should be looking for, what could be maybe not a good fit. So this is the real place here. And I hope, guys, you was having a good session with us. Thank you, Fabio. Thank you, Maciej, from my side. Have a good one. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Stay tuned.